Ever pondered why if-else in Java is so crucial? Well, let's delve into it. Imagine you're a maestro, orchestrating a symphony of codes, and if-else is your baton, guiding the rhythm and flow of your masterpiece. It is a fundamental control structure in Java, an essential tool in the programmer's kit, guiding the course of your program based on conditions. It's all about decisions, like a crossroad in your code, determining which path to follow based on the conditions you set. It's like the brain's decision-making process, if you will, deciding whether to have tea or coffee based on if it's morning or evening. In the world of Java, if-else is the decision-maker, the pivot point around which your program revolves. It's the heartbeat of logical reasoning within your code. Now that we know the importance of if-else, it's time to understand what it is. So, what exactly is this if-else we're talking about? Well, if-else in Java is a conditional statement, a fundamental concept in any programming language. It's like a crossroads. It tells your program to take one path if a condition is true and another path if it's false. It's a decision-making process that guides the flow of your program. The syntax of if-else is straightforward. It starts with the keyword if, followed by a condition in parentheses. This condition is a statement that can be evaluated as either true or false. Following the condition, there's a block of code enclosed in curly braces. This is the code that will be executed if the condition is true. Are you still with me? Great. Now the else part comes into play when the condition is false. After the if block, you'd write else, followed by another block of code in curly braces. This code will be executed when the condition in the if statement is not met. Hence the name if-else. For instance, imagine we're coding a simple weather application. We could use an if-else statement to display a message to the user based on the temperature. If the temperature is below 0, we could display, "Bundle up, it's cold out there." If not, the else statement could display, "No need for a heavy coat today." You see, if-else statements are like the traffic signals of programming. They control the flow, directing your code to the right path based on the conditions you set. They're simple yet powerful, and mastering them is crucial for any aspiring Java programmer. But it's not all about syntax. It's about understanding the logic behind it, about knowing when to use if-else and how to use it effectively. It's about turning those lines of code into meaningful programs, into solutions that solve real-world problems. With the basic understanding of if-else, let's move on to the next level. Ready to dive deeper into the world of if-else? Let's jump right in. If-else is a fundamental concept in Java, providing the backbone for decision-making in your code. Imagine you're a computer. You're presented with a situation and you have to make a choice based on certain conditions. That's where if-else steps in. Let's start with a simple if-else. Here, Java checks if a condition is true. If it is, it executes a block of code. If not, it executes another block. Think of it like deciding what to wear in the morning. If it's cold, you grab a sweater. If not, you opt for a t-shirt. Now let's consider something more complex. Nested if-else. This is essentially an if-else within an if-else. Picture deciding what to wear, but this time you're considering both temperature and precipitation. If it's cold and raining, you'd grab a coat and an umbrella. If it's cold but dry, just the coat. If it's warm and raining, maybe just a rain jacket. Each decision branch is an additional if-else nested within the original. Finally, we have the else-if ladder. This is a chain of if-else statements, where each else is connected to another if. It's like deciding what to wear, but now you're considering temperature, precipitation, and wind speed. If it's cold, raining, and windy, you'd grab a coat, an umbrella, and a hat. If it's cold and dry but windy, you'd skip the umbrella but keep the hat. Each condition adds a new rung to your else-if ladder. Now, it's important to note that Java evaluates these conditions from top to bottom. Once it finds a true condition, it executes the corresponding code block and skips the rest. This is key to understanding how if-else works in Java. In all these examples, you are the programmer, deciding what conditions to check and what actions to take. It's all about making your code smarter, enabling it to make decisions based on the situations it encounters. Having explored the depths of if-else, it's time to see it in action. Let's put theory into practice, shall we? Now that we've got a firm grasp on the theoretical underpinnings of if-else in Java, it's time to roll up our sleeves and dive into some real-world applications. Remember, in coding, knowing the theory is just the first step. The real magic happens when we learn to apply these concepts to solve real-world problems. Let's start with a simple example. a program to determine if a number is even or odd. This is a classic case where the if-else statement shines. The logic is straightforward. We take a number, and if it's divisible by 2, it's even, else it's odd. In Java, it looks something like this. When we run this, the console will print the number is even because 10 divided by 2 leaves no remainder. That's if-else in action, making decisions based on conditions. Now let's tackle something a bit more complex. A program that checks if a user is eligible to vote. In many countries, the legal voting age is 18, so if the user's age is 18 or more, they're eligible. Else, they're not. Here's how we'd write that in Java. In this case, the console will print the user is eligible to vote, because 20 is greater than or equal to 18. From determining even or odd numbers to checking voting eligibility, if-else statements are versatile tools in a programmer's toolkit, helping us to create dynamic, responsive programs. Now that we've seen if-else in action, let's summarize what we've learned. Time to wrap up our journey by summarizing the key points we covered today. The realm of if-else in Java is vast, but we've managed to navigate it together, shedding light on its core aspects. First up, we dove into the very essence of if-else, a fundamental control flow statement in Java. This construct allows us to execute different parts of our code based on certain conditions. It's the backbone of decision-making in our programs, guiding our code's path like a compass. We then ventured into the understanding of if-else, its structure and how it works. We learned that it consists of 3 parts: the if statement, the else-if statement, and the else statement. We also clarified that while the if statement is obligatory, the else-if and else segments are optional, allowing greater flexibility. Delving deeper, we explored how the if-else statement scrutinizes conditions from top to bottom. If a condition is true, it executes the corresponding code block and then breaks out of the if-else sequence. If no conditions are met, the else clause executes, serving as a default route. We also highlighted the practical application of if-else in Java, showing how it can be used in a variety of contexts. From simple programs like determining whether a number is even or odd, to more complex scenarios such as validating user input. If-else proves to be a versatile tool. Finally, we talked about the importance of if-else in programming. It's not just about making decisions, it's about creating dynamic, interactive programs that can adapt to different situations and inputs. It's the difference between a static web page and an interactive application. And that, folks, is the end of our journey into the world of if-else in Java. Remember, the key to mastering any programming concept is practice. So keep coding. We've come a long way today, haven't we? We started off with the basics of if-else in Java, understanding its significance in decision-making within our code. We then plunged into the depths, dissecting the syntax and functionality of if-else. Following that, we applied our knowledge practically, demonstrating how if-else can be used to solve real-world problems. We've covered a lot of ground, and I hope this video has helped you gain a robust understanding of if-else in Java. Remember, practice is key to mastering any concept. So I encourage you to try out different scenarios using if-else in your own code. Looking ahead, we've got some thrilling topics lined up for you. We'll be delving into loops, arrays, and even object-oriented programming, so there's a lot to look forward to. Thank you for joining us on this journey. Stay tuned for more exciting topics. Until then, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep coding.